Hello again, YouTube. I'm gonna do another story time today, and this story is gonna be about the time that I lost my virginity. Now, I was 13, and my birthday was right around the corner, and I had turned 14. I had moved from New York all the way to South Carolina, which is a drastic change because New York is like always busy, hustle and bustle, inner city, like Jay-Z say, they never sleep. And then South Carolina is very slow paced. It's a lot of country, and the scenery is just very different, and the vibe is completely different. So anyway, I'm 13, just not turning 14. I moved to South Carolina, and I met this guy, and he was older than me. And I don't know, I had never really dated anybody up until that point because the person who was raising me, she was like very, very strict. So that was out the question. So it was exciting for me to be experiencing like this whole new world, if you will. So I started dating this guy. I think when I was 14, he was 17, I want to say. But I didn't lose my virginity until I was 15 years old. Yeah, I was 15. And it was only because of peer pressure. Like every freaking other week, he'd be asking me, when you gonna let me get in them panties? When you gonna let me get a taste? When you gonna do this? When you gonna do that? And all the people who were my age, like they was always talking about sex and stuff, like always. And so I began to get curious, and I wanted to experience it for myself. So one night, I called myself about to become a woman, and I had put on some thongs, and I had took a bath and everything, put on some perfume, and I walked up the street to his house, and I had snuck out of the house. My mama, she didn't know. She was like in her room or whatever. So I snuck up the house to his house. Sorry if I look weird, y'all, I'm driving. But anyway, I snuck from my house to his house, and then he let me in, and we had went in the room, and we was sitting on the bed, and then he moved in for the kill. He was like kissing my neck and all that stuff, and I guess trying to get me horny or whatever. And because I liked him, like I was feeling excited, but now that I have so much more experience, it was a horrible disaster. Like looking back on it and comparing it back then to now, it was not even a good look. So like he did the do or whatever, and it was just so robotic, if you ask me. Like I don't know, I liked him and I think he liked me, but we weren't in love or anything like that, and he was just getting him. And I was a virgin, so I didn't know nothing about nothing. It was just terrible, y'all. It was terrible. Like, your first time is supposed to be a time that you look back on and you remember and you have positive emotions about it. But I don't think mine would fit that category because, honey, it wasn't nothing to write home about. And after we did it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what everybody's talking about? I ain't never doing this again. Of course, you know that was a lie. 3 kids later. I didn't have my kids by him, but we ended up breaking up because, honey, he was a cheater. Like, he thought I was stupid and he thought I was young and naive, which I was, both of those things, but I still wasn't about to let him walk all over me, honey. So I just was like, you can just do whatever you want. I ain't about to be your little doormat or whatever. But I wanted to make this video because it's so many young girls out there that probably don't have anyone that they feel like they can talk to, or anybody that is willingly talking to them about this. Sex is a very, very important, like, move. I don't know if that made any sense, but when a female decides to start having sex, that's very, very important because there's so many things that she needs to know. Like, she needs to know how to take care of her body. She needs to know how to protect herself from STDs and unplanned pregnancies. She just needs to know all kind of stuff. And more often than not, you find that these young girls, like, they be losing their virginity to these dudes who already done bust down by 4 or 5 other chicks and done moved on. And now they like emotionally attached, because it is a big deal when you give a guy your virginity. Like, it's a very big deal. So the best thing to do is to give it to somebody who deserves it. Like, give it to somebody who you have built a relationship with, a bond with. You know, don't just be having one night stands and sleeping all around and all that different kind of stuff, because in the end it's going to leave you feeling hollow and empty in the inside. Like, it's not worth it to be doing all that. And then another thing with these pregnancies, like, these young girls be thinking, oh, if I have a baby by him, he gonna love me and the baby, and we gonna be together, and this, that, and the third. And that's really not the case. Like, most times when you have a baby, that be dipping out the picture. And then you don't went from a teen to a young woman to a single young woman. Like, it's just tragic the way that it happens. And then you're a baby trying to raise a baby, so you don't have everything that you need to be equipped with to be raising this kid to be all that they can be. You know, when I had my when I got pregnant, I was 18, I think. But I had my twins at 19. And I had 2 at one time, y'all. I had twin boys. They was like 3 pounds and some change. They was like that big. And their father and I had been together for a few years or whatever. But it was a bad relationship because he sold drugs, he was on drugs, he was abusive, all that different type of stuff. And me being young and not having no guidance, I knew that it wasn't a good thing for me to try to pursue this and continue like being with him. But I also wanted to make it work, you know, for me and the kids. So I tried, but it didn't work out. Like, he ended up going to prison when it was like 1, and he didn't get out till they was like 6. So he had missed like 5 whole years of their life in a heartbeat. And during that time, I met another guy who essentially was there for all that time. But it's just a tragedy when you have kids and then the kids' fathers leave, and then another man ends up stepping in and trying to assume the responsibility, which is something he is not obligated to do. So, you know, a moral of the story would be, don't lay down with a guy and have unprotected sex if you cannot see them being a good father. And most men, you know, in their teens, early teens, they still very immature. They don't want to settle down and have another mouth to feed and have a responsibility and have to worry about all those different things. That's why the mom is always left to fend for herself and the kid, to figure out, like, okay, how I'm going to feed my baby, how I'm going to get to work and have somebody watch my baby, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. Like, the guy, he's not emotionally ready to do all that. So he just like, bump that, I'm out. He moving on to the next one. But if the